In this video, I am going to explain type of loaders. In the last video, I explained in detail what you mean by loading, what is the concept of loading, why we need that, and how the process of loading is done, and what are all the roles of every type of loader. That means there are four major tasks will be performed by any type of loaders, and that I discussed in the last video. If anybody not watch, you please first you watch that video in the previous video and then come to the types of loaders. Okay, so in the last video I explained the major roles or major tasks performed by any loaders are these four: allocation, linking, relocation, loading. Quickly I will go through these points. Allocation means, see, we user always write what? Source program. That means we write the what? Source program. So that source program is in generally in high level language. But that high level language is not understood by our system. So what we have to do? We need to convert this high level system, high level programs into object file or machine level or executable file code have to execute. Okay, this will called object file. So that means the program written in high level language is get converted into machine level language. For that we need to use some type of translators. Okay, so translators. The translators may be compilers, it may be interpreters, or it may be the assemblers, whatever. Okay, these are the translators, converts program written in high level language, assembly level language into the object file. This is our machine level code. Machine level code. This is not executable code. This is a machine level code. That means this code now consists of only ones and zeros. Okay, and during conversion, once our assembler converts program written in assembly level language into the object file, our assembler itself specify where this program should be loaded into the main memory. So that is nothing but the allocation. So you should say in which address of the main memory it should store. Okay, that is allocation. And then every program consists of every program we have to write. You have to use some inbuilt functions or some library functions or user defined functions, some method, classes, subroutines we need to write. So how many we are writing the subroutines or the functions, that many object files created for the one file. So all these multiple object file generated by the compiler or by the assembler, that should be linked together to form a one single executable file which is ready for execution. So that will be done by the linking. Okay, the linker software. This is also one system software. Once linking is done, sometimes we need to do relocations. Whenever our assembler says you load this program in this so and so address, but in that address already some other file is running. Okay, other process is running. At that time, our loader has to relocate some other addresses in which memory is free. So that's what the relocation. One example I will do. Okay, that's the relocation. Once relocation is done, finally our system software loader should load that executable file from secondary memory to the main memory. These are the four major tasks should be performed by any type of loaders. Okay, so now in this video I am going to explain there are so many type of loaders are there. In that the first and basic type of loader is compile and go loader. It is sometimes also called as assemble and go loader. Assemble and go loader. Okay, both are same. This is all. Okay, this type of loader we are using in the very early days, that is before 1974. Before 1974, this type of loader we are using. At that time, there is no programming language of like C, C++, Java, .NET, Python. All these programs were not there. At that time, we have programming languages like Fortran, COBOL, Pascal, ADA, like that we are having. Okay, so at that time, we are using this type of loader. Now, what this type of loader will do? How it will do? Okay, so now as I said, so we have written what? One source program. Our source program. This is our source program written using some language like Fortran, Pascal, COBOL. Let us take Fortran. This Fortran stands for Formula translation, formula translation. Now what this now, here it will written statement by statement, those are the program. Okay, program is a set of instructions. Now our compile and go loader. What it will do, it will take one instruction at a time. It will take one instruction, convert into the machine level language and store in the main memory. This is your main memory. So now that converted machine code will be loaded into the main memory. This is your main memory. Okay. So now not only this one, we have also assembler. Assembler is also stored in the same main memory always. Like how always operating system should keep running. So like that, here also one software called assembler should keep running. So keep running, it should be always stored in the main memory. So our compile and code loader take one instruction, converts it into the machine code, load it. So the address will be generated by the assembler only. That is the simplest type of loader. It will take one instruction, convert into the machine level code, store it into the main memory. That's it. Now what are the advantages of this one? Since our compile and code take one instruction, converts into the machine code, directly put into the main memory. So it does no need to know what? There is no concept of what? Linking. No linking, because what? There is no object files will be created. No object file is created. No linking is done means what? No executable files. No executable files or no exe files. Okay. So this is the simplest. Okay. Simplest, and it is easy to what? Implement. Easy to implement. Okay, these are the what? Advantages of using this compile and go type of loader. Hope you understand. Okay, now let us see what are the disadvantages. We know what are the advantages of this, and let us see what are the disadvantages of this loader. So what are the disadvantages actually? Since here we are not performing what? Linking we are not performing, and there is no concept of relocation. Here it is doing only allocation loading, so it is simple. Since it is not, why it is not linking? Because there is no object files. No object files means what? There is no object file means no need to link. So it is faster, that's fine. Since there is no object file, there is no executable files. No executable. Now what is the problem in that? Now for example, suppose assume you people are using your smartphones. Assume whenever your OS a system version, okay, it will get updates, we need to install that updates, right? System OS, okay. Whenever we install all in our system, whenever our Windows operating system get updated, we need to install that update, okay, we need to update. So whenever we install an updates, we have to restart it or not? Yes, okay, we need to do restart. Why we need to restart? To make the changes. That means whenever there is some change in our program, we should compile and then we need to execute. Because whenever we do some changes means there is some change in the code, then we need to check whether any error is there or not. We need to check, for that we need to compile and then we need to execute. In the same way, here whenever our source program is compiled and then it will be converted. Since here directly you are converting next time and there is no executable file, executable means what? This file is ready to execute. Every time, so suppose now I executed one program, one process. Next time, whenever I can directly execute, like how we are opening the new app here, again we need to do the entire process. Again you need to allocate memory, convert and again load it. Because there is no executable file. So every time, even though there is no change in our source code also, we have to compile or we need to assemble and then we need to execute. Okay, there is not possible to execute directly. If there is no change. See, if there is a change, then there is no way we need to compile or we need to assemble, then only execute. But here, since there is no executable file or no object file, even though there is no change in our source program, also every time we need to run, before running or before executing, we need to compile or assemble and then only execute. That is the major disadvantage. One, okay, first disadvantage. Okay, so second, that means we need to, every time we need to compile or assemble. Okay, this is the first step. Okay, because of these two reasons, this one, okay, executes every time we need to compile or assemble the source program, even though there is no change. There is no change in the source program. This is the major disadvantage. Second disadvantage, as we see in this diagram, see, some part of the main memory is occupied by the assembler. See, assembler is not a simple home program. Assembler, again, itself is a complex software, because we don't know user has written the program using what programming language. Whatever the user written the programming language, that compiler or that assembler we need to use, and every time we need to convert that. So it consumes a lot of space, and we know that almost 50% of the main memory is occupied by our operating system and as well as our system softwares, and above that it is consuming its space only. So we are having what? Okay, so assembler will consume more memory space. So because of that, user process doesn't get that much memory space. Okay, so user programs get very less space for the user programs. That is the second major disadvantage. Okay, so this is the simplest loader, compile and go loader, in which it will take one instruction, converts and load into the machine. That's it. Since there is no object file, there is no concept of linking, there is no concept of relocation, that is faster, that's the advantage. And there is no concept of linking, there is no object executable file. So because of that, every time we need to compile or assemble, even though it has to, there is no change in the program, that is a disadvantage. And it is consuming more space in the main memory. That is another disadvantage. Okay, so hope you people understood the basic type or the first type of loader, that is a compile and go loader. If you have any questions, please write it in the comments. Thank you. Thanks for watching.